one.
Hi, everyone. This is real estate coach Craig Proctor. Hope you're having an awesome day. I have a special guest here, good friend of mine, Vinny Steo from Maryland. It's been a Craig Proctor member now for many, many years, but I'll let Vinny tell you the story. Hey, Vinny, thank you so much for being with us today. Why don't we get right into like who you are, how you found me, and how your business has exploded.
Well, Craig, it is great to be here. I am just, I feel very fortunate to be part of the Craig Proctor world. And I joined Craig back in 2006. So that's been about 16 years now, going on 17 years here soon. And, you know, when my background is in engineering, and I worked as an engineer in industrial automation for about 6 years.
So how do you go from being an engineer, because you had to go to school for a long time to do that?
6 years.
And how do you make the leap from doing that to getting into real estate?
You know, I was just not happy, and I wish somebody had introduced me to the DISC personality profile before I decided to become an engineer. I got into engineering.
Dude, I totally get it, because do you want to know what? Do you know, before I got into real estate, I'm not sure if you know this, I went to college and took electrical engineering. And like, you know, my personality and I know yours, we're like the furthest from this. So I almost graduated as an electrical engineer, but I hated it, right? I mean, I really had to try and apply myself, but I was making it through. Now, that was a very hard decision because I had put all that time into school. I'd almost graduated. And then you actually did this for several years. So it's very difficult to go through life on how life has been planned for you, and then just sort of jump ship. Yeah, like I totally relate. Like for me, it was like, I don't want to do this. I'm not happy doing this. I could do it, but I'm not happy. So I had to weigh that. It's like I put all this schooling and education into it, but I knew, well, if I graduate, I'm gonna have to keep doing this, right?
Yeah.
So you graduated. You did it for how many years?
I did it for about 6 years, and I just was not happy. And you know, they say when you don't know what you want to do with your career, you go get a real estate license.
Yeah, pretty much. So how did you, like, I got into real estate because my father was a real estate agent. So what got you into real estate?
Well, I always had an interest in it. My dad had developed some land, you know, back when I was younger. And it just kind of caught my attention, got my interest, and you know, just thought, hey, let me give this a try. You know, I was sort of in between at the time, and just said, you know what, let me just give this a try. And as soon as I worked with my first customer, I was hooked. I was like, oh, this is so cool. I really enjoy helping people.
Well, the other thing too is when you get your first. I remember my first commission check was for $14,000, and I had worked part-time before I got into real estate, I think for the entire year for $14,000. So I made more with one commission check. Now, you know, my engineering background and your engineering background, it is useful to us in real estate because you're a big systems guy, right? And you have to be organized. So on the DISC, what's your DISC score? What's your highest of the 4 personality types?
So I'm a DI.
A DI. Okay. So but you must have a fair amount of C.
No, that's the problem. And I have some C in there, but you know, that was the problem. I was an engineer as a DI, and it wasn't a good match.
You know, if you'd only taken that test,
I know,
went down that road. You know, it's funny because the reason I got into engineering back in the day, our guidance counselor in high school said it wasn't about like what is your aptitude or what you would like to do. Yeah. Back in the day, it was about, oh, we need engineers. The fact that I was completely the wrong personality for it didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
Oh, yeah, there's jobs for engineers. You should be an engineer. That's crazy. Yeah. Okay, so you get into real estate. You kind of knew right away, I like this better than being an engineer.
Oh yeah, right away. First customer, I was hooked, and then it was just trying to figure it out. And it took me about 2 years before I met you of just experimenting. Like I would, you know, it was like the shiny new object, right? Like I would gravitate to this trainer and that trainer and this system and that system. And I was sort of dabbling in all these different things, trying to find my way.
You were in search of something that made
I was
sense.
in search of something, right? And then I go to Chicago in 2006, and I'm sitting there at the super conference, and it was just like a light bulb went off, like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been looking for. This is like a culmination of all these different systems and aspects and trainings that I've been searching for and finding bits and pieces of it. It's all right here.
And that was 16 years ago. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, no, this is for those watching, this as a coach, for me, this is what I want to create for all of you that are watching right now. I want to create lifetime relationships. This might sound unique to you guys watching. Okay, Vinny's been with Craig for 16 years, but it's not really unique. Vinny, when you come to our conferences, you meet hundreds of Craig Proctor system members that have been with me for 5 years or 10 years or 15 years or 20 years. I don't know, Bill Watson's probably been with me for 30 years. Like, that's how long I've been doing this. So let's talk about going to that first Craig Proctor conference in 2006. You're like, the light went on. What kind of things, what changed as far as your paradigm and your vision? What were you chasing at that point after you attended the first Craig Proctor conference?
I think before I went to the conference, it was just like lead generation. Like, okay, I know that I can do this. I just need to know how to get in front of customers, and just trying to find what systems would help me identify customers.
How were you generating your leads back then?
I was just using hotlines.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically just had the 800 number, and people would call in, and then I would just cold call. So if anybody called and hung up, I would just be like cold calling all these people.
You called me and you hung up, but here I am anyway. Right?
Yeah, here I am anyhow. And I had a certain amount of success, doing it. But I knew there was a better way.
Okay, so let's walk everybody through your progress. So here's where we are so far. Vinny is an engineer by accident. He gets into real estate by accident, but you love it right away. Hey, I don't know what I want to do with the rest of my life, but I sure like selling real estate better than being an engineer. You come to our conference in 2006. Now, let's talk about how your mindset changed, because no longer were you satisfied with just being a real estate agent. You wanted to build a team, and eventually you wanted to have your own real estate company. Mm-hmm. So you start improving your lead generation, which now you've got more leads than you could possibly handle, and you started to have to grow your team. So that was a new problem for you. You now had to figure out how to recruit and hire and how to organize your team. What does that look like today?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I say that we have the best group of people in the real estate business, and they work right here, and I get to work with them every day, and it's just awesome. And it's taken a little while to get to this point, but we just have a tremendous culture in the company. Everybody's focused on our vision to be the best place to work, buy and sell real estate. And we're all focused on providing second mile service to our customers, and being able to help each other on the team, and also be able to give back to the community. And if I interrupt for 1 minute, you're being way too modest, because on top of all that, realtors, listen to this. If you were to work for Vinny, he is an expert at marketing, because I've made him an expert at direct response marketing. This guy knows what he's doing. He knows how to make offers that buyers and sellers want. He pays for all the marketing. If you were an outside sales agent on Vinny's team, besides the culture and it's a fun place to work and they're great people, which every real estate company says, Vinny actually gives you listing appointments and buyer appointments, not leads. The leads go to the inside sales agent. So you don't have to pay for the marketing. Vinny pays for the marketing. If you worked for Vinny, you would say, okay, here's my schedule. I don't want to work Fridays, or I don't want to work Thursday evenings. I'm with my kids or whatever. You book out your personal time, but anytime that you're available, Vinny's team would book you a listing appointment or a buyer appointment. Agents, how would you like that, realtors? How would you like to just, you don't have to do anything except for going to listing appointments and buyer appointments. In fact, if I worked for Vinny,
And tomorrow at 2:00, he had a listing appointment for me. I am literally going to show up at that house using the Craig Proctor presentation that Vinny has coached me on. Vinny would be your coach. Vinny would be, not only does he pay for all the marketing and advertising, he spends a lot of time coaching every week, coaching and training the team. Why? The more money you make, the more money Vinny makes. Now, so I go out on this listing appointment that you've set for me for tomorrow at 2:00. After I get the listing signed, all I have to do is send that into the office. Vinny's team broker loads it. They have someone that goes out, takes the picture of the house, gets the key cut, installs the key box, makes the feature sheets, calls the client. Realtors, this is a dream job. That's how Vinny recruits agents. It's like how much money could you make, realtors, if this was true for you, where you could work on a team where someone else is paying for all the marketing and advertising and filling your day timer, not with looky-loos, not with unqualified, but real buyers and sellers. And all you had to do is give the same awesome presentation that you're coached up on and the same seller presentation. The reason agents come and work with you, besides the fact that you're an awesome guy to work with, is the fact that they can make more money and work less.
Yeah, that's the idea. You think about like how many sales would you have as a real estate agent if you're only focusing on meeting with motivated buyers and sellers and getting agreements signed? Like if that was your primary job,
well,
and just meeting with them and getting
exactly. We have to remind real estate agents, why the hell did you get into real estate? Right? You got in, if you're like most realtors, you got into this because you want more money and you want more time, which is freedom, right? And then doing it the traditional way, the very first thing we lose is our freedom, right? Real estate done the traditional way, cold calling, door knocking. Do you know how hard it is to learn the lead generation? Or, what's even worse, many realtors today, they're buying leads from Zillow and they're calling scraped leads. Nobody wants that. The buyers don't want those phone calls. The agents don't want to make those phone calls. How many of you would prefer, realtors, honestly, that you go to your day timer and every day there's just appointments there? All you have to be good at are two things: the listing presentation and the buyer presentation, because you're doing it all day long. And that's how you get good at it. Imagine doing 4 or 5 listing presentations every single day. You're going to become really, really good at it. So you can make more money, you can work less, and realtors get to focus on only the things they like to do and delegate all the other stuff. You shouldn't be getting keys cut. You shouldn't be taking pictures. Shouldn't be doing all that stuff. All that stuff is downloaded. So this is the team concept that I literally invented in the 1980s. Now it's very popular now because I've made it popular. Okay. That when Vinny met me in 2006, that's 16 years ago. So Vinny, when you first met me, you were thinking, wow, this is pretty cutting edge. Remember, I'd been doing this since the 1980s. Right? You're hearing about it the first time in 2016. Those of you watching it right now, you're like, well, I know there's a lot of teams. We show you how to do this the proper way. Okay. How to recruit, hire, train, manage, how to actually have a business. So Vinny, you've had this, your first vision was, oh, I want to be a really busy, successful real estate agent. You had a job called real estate agent. Now you have a business. Explain why it's a business, what this looks like, and you're not done yet. What is your vision for where you want to take this thing?
Yeah, so I tell everybody on the team, like, we're just getting started. And I've been doing this for about 20 years now, and I just feel like there's so much opportunity out there to help people, and I feel like we are in the best position to be able to help consumers in the marketplace, especially now. The market is shifting in our area, and customers are trying to figure out what to do. And there's not many companies out there like ours that have systems and tools and guarantees to be able to help the customer accomplish what's most important to them.
And that's why I wanted to jump in, because when I asked you about your team, you're like, well, we got a great culture here and a great group of people. I just felt like, man, you're really underselling yourself here, because every company says, we got a great culture here, or a lot of companies will give you leads. No, they don't. Every company will say, oh, we're going to coach you and we're going to give you leads. Let me know in the comments, folks. You've heard that before. Vinny, my guys actually do this. Okay, we invented this. We actually do this where you're actually getting listing appointments and buyer appointments every day, and you're being coached up by Vinny on how to do this. He's got a vested interest. So because this is actually a real thing, it actually happens. Now Vinny can be selective with who's on the team, right? So not everybody's going to be on the team. Now that doesn't mean we won't take on new agents. If you're a brand new agent, you've never, like if you've got the right stuff, we will work with you and we will coach you up. So it doesn't matter necessarily where you are right now or what's happened to you in the past. It's where you want to go and whether we think you've got the right stuff. If you're coachable, we can teach you how to do all of this stuff. But how does that sound, realtors? How would you like to, I really, there's two ways this thing's going, the whole business. I wrote a book on this, I don't know, like 10 years ago. The book is called The Death of the Traditional Real Estate Agent and the Rise of the Super Profitable Sales Team. Now, why did I write the book? Because 10 years ago, I could see what was going on here. The future of real estate is really one of two choices. You're either going to start your own super profitable sales team like Vinny, or you're going to be part of one. You're going to join up with somebody else's. It's going to be very difficult as we go into this recession here to operate as a solo realtor because Vinny can do things that the other agents in his area, they can't do it. They don't have the scale, they don't have the money, they don't have the coaching, the expertise to be able to do this. And of course, if I want to sell my house, I want to go with the realtor, the team that's best equipped to get me the best result. So this has been the trend. It's been the trend for 10 years. It's not new. I've been doing this for 30 years. So I always laugh when people are like, oh, this is so cutting edge. Well, I've been doing this for 30 years, right? We've been doing this for 30 years. Now, the marketing has changed. The technology has changed, but the premise of how you look at this, okay, your vision for this, there's been realtors do this with me for 30 years. You're talking to Vinny here, 16 years in the making. Vinny, right now, what is your big thing we're heading into 2023. What is your big thing that you need to get implemented to move to even the next level?
So for us, it's finding agents that can help us with the overflow of business that we have.
Finding agents that want to work and are coachable and trainable. Now, what would a realtor, on average, what would a realtor on your team make, like commission-wise annually? What would they make just from going to your appointments that you set up, your listing appointments and buyer appointments? How much money would they make?
So I'll start the answer to that question by just letting you know that the average agent in our market makes $42,000 a year.
Okay, so average realtor is $42,000 a year for the average realtor.
Yeah.
Okay. What about guys on your team?
So on average, last year, our agents made $168,000 on
$168,000. So why wouldn't every realtor in your marketplace want to be part of your team? Average income 42.
And that's net. That's net. That's not, that's cash in your pocket after all expenses. No, that's like cash right there.
I was trying to recruit an agent. You've heard this story before, Vinny, I'm sure, but I was trying to recruit this guy at RE/MAX, and he was all proud of the fact he was making $100,000 a year. They gave him I think 100% club award. You were at RE/MAX before, right? Yeah. So the little trophy you get, like the Oscar.
Yeah, I got one right here.
Right, the Oscar. Okay. So they give you this award if you're at RE/MAX for making $100,000. I think it's called the 100% award, and I've got a whole stack of, I was with RE/MAX for 25 years. So I got all these trophies. So they celebrate $100,000 a year, but that's in gross income.
Right.
Okay. So I'm trying to recruit this guy, works at RE/MAX. He's making $100,000. He just got divorced, right? Cause he's working all the time, had no time for his spouse, no time for his kids. He's telling me this, right? And he makes $100,000 a year, but I asked him, what do you net? He said about 60. So I said, dude, you're working 7 days a week. Okay. You're working 12 hours a day. It's already cost you your marriage. You don't have a relationship with your kids. It's all, and you think this is successful. You're netting $60,000 a year. Then he told me he was making more than that at his prior job before he got into real estate. And at his prior job, he was in sales He was making 100 grand a year net in his pocket. They gave him a company car. He had benefits. He had paid vacation, and they supplied him with all the leads and the contacts. I'm like, dude, how is this better than what you had? This is way worse. So I'm trying to recruit this guy to my team. Do you know, I did recruit him, and the first year with me, he netted $250,000 in his pocket. So
Nice.
your agents on average, what is it? 168?
168.
116? 116?
168.
Oh, 168. Okay, 160. Let's call it 170, just because that's easier. Okay, now realtors, I want you to think about this. You could be a solo agent, okay, in Maryland. So Vinny works Maryland and Lower Pennsylvania. Is that okay if I give you a little? I'm going to give him a little pitch here.
Sure.
If you're a realtor in Maryland or Lower PA, do not call Craig Proctor. I want you to call Vinny. Okay, everything you want to do in real estate's already been done by Vinny. You don't need to call me. This guy has been coached up for 16 years. He knows everything that I do. You contact Vinny, okay, and you join his team. And unless you're netting more than $168,000, so if you're netting more than $168,000, don't call Vinny. Okay, if you're making more than $170,000 net in your pocket, then good for you. That's awesome. Maybe I'll come to your coaching program. But for most of you, that's not true. Now, the truth is, that's average. Vinny, you have agents that make more than that, right?
Yes.
What would your top agent make?
This year, our top agent will make over 200,000.
Over 200,000. Okay, so this guy that I was trying to recruit, back to my story here. The guy was making 100 grand a year. Now, I knew this guy because I had sold his house before I got into real estate. I met a guy. So he's divorced. He's working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. He makes $250,000 with me the very first year, net in his pocket. So what's better, do you think? Solo agent working at Remax. He grosses 100, but he makes 60, loses his whole life to real estate. Or you come and you work for Craig Proctor and you net $250,000. This is in his first year. So yeah, this is the thing, folks. So here's what's going to happen to all of you. You're either going to make a decision that you want to do what Vinny's doing. Okay. And if you'd want to do what Vinny's doing, you're going to contact me. Okay. There's a free call where we'll talk you through how this whole thing works. If you go to proctorcall.com, we'll put that in the comments. It's easy, right? My name. Where is it? Right there. Proctor. Make sure you put OR at the end, not ER. Proctor Call, no space, proctorcall.com. You can set up a day that works for you and a time, and we'll answer all your questions, and we'll want to learn about your business and where you want to go, and we'll show you how this would work. It's a free call. You don't like what you hear, you just keep doing what you're doing. What's the downside? Same thing if you're in Maryland or you're in Lower Pennsylvania. Don't be all skeptical about this. You know who Vinny is. Don't be a hater. Don't be like, well, you know, he's got some kind of superpowers, or, you know, he's got some. Just give the guy a call. You know who he is. You see him all over the place. You've heard the old saying, you know, if you can't beat him, join him. Why would you want to compete with Vinny? Just go join his office. If you're average realtor, 168,000 net in your pocket. What do you have to gross in real estate as a solo agent to make 168? 300K? You got to make $300,000 after you pay all your expense. Just go team up with Vinny or one of my other superstars all over the country. Now, we have our own Craig Proctor brokerage. Okay, so now we started licensing agents, and then we licensed what I license, by the way, is my intellectual property. That's my life's work, right? So a lot of people, when they think about coaching Vinny, they think, they think it's like Tom Ferry, like it's an accountability, and we're going to rah, get you excited. Well, I mean, hopefully I get you excited, right? Hopefully we entertain you and it's fun, but we actually give you a system. Okay. What's a system mean? We give you the ads, okay, the copy, what the ads say. We give you the scripts. We give you the presentations. That's how Vinny became super successful as a solo agent. But then Vinny says, Craig, I can't do it all. Right? You got to the point where it's like, well, Craig solved one problem, which was lead generation. Now I got so many leads. I got a new problem, which is I can't follow up. I can't handle all the business by myself. It was a new problem. We showed him how to fix that. It wasn't a problem at all. It was an opportunity. camouflaged as a problem. So Vinny follows the system. He starts to recruit, hire, train. How many people on your team right now?
We've got about 16 total.
16. So it's a real business. Like you could go away on vacation. You can do other things outside of real estate. Houses in your market are still being listed. They're still being sold. What's your vision for this as we go for the next couple of years? Where do you want to take this?
Well, our short-term goal here is we need about 12 more real estate agents to be able to handle the overflow. And we also need 2 inside sales agents in addition to what we have currently.
Okay, let me touch on the inside sales thing. Okay, so what are outside sales agents and what are inside? When I created the team way back in the late 1980s, when I created this whole team, we called it the team concept. Well, it's certainly not a concept anymore because thousands of agents are doing what I do. It's proven it. A concept is, well, will this work? But back then, I referred to this as the team concept because no one had ever done this before. In the beginning, I gave the leads, the overflow leads. I was out still listing houses myself, but the overflow leads went to my agents. I didn't refer to them as inside agents and outside sales agents. They were just agents. But what I found is my really good agents didn't want leads. It's not that they couldn't convert them. Like if I gave one of my top team members, one of my top agents, if I gave her 10 leads, she would call 2 or 3 of them, book a listing appointment, and the other 7 or 8 leads would never get called. We then understood, okay, agents don't want leads, they want appointments. So we need to create a new division inside my team called inside sales. And the way the inside sales position is going to work is we're going to pay them a guaranteed salary plus a commission, and they'll work a set 40 hours a week. So the leads will go to the inside sales agents. The inside sales agents will call, follow up, and qualify the buyers and sellers and book the best appointments. So the inside sales agents get the leads, the outside sales agents get the appointments. Why would someone want to be an inside sales agent? Okay. Some of you might be right for this. If you've been in real estate for a while and you don't want to go out and run around with buyers and sellers and do offers, if that's not your thing, and you'd like to work a guaranteed 40-hour week, like in real estate, you don't know when you're working, right? But with an inside salesperson, you're going to work like Monday to Friday, set hours, and you're going to get a guaranteed paycheck, a salary every single week plus commission. So for some agents, they're like, yeah, I like that. I'm tired of running around showing buyers houses. I would rather just make calls from the office or from home and set up the appointments. So we have all these different positions inside Vinny's office. We have administrative people, we have inside sales, we have outside sales. This thing is very organized. So what we're doing, actually, ironically, Vinny, what we're doing here is the opposite of what you and I did when we started our careers. You and I ended up in engineering, something that we hated, right? What we're offering all of you is to do something you love, right? So for some people, it's one of the administrative roles. For some people, it's inside sales. For some people, it's outside sales. We also have positions for customer service. So every one of the buyers and sellers gets followed up by our customer service manager. This is how companies work. See, here is really the epiphany that Vinny had. Vinny started to realize, I'm not really going to get where I want to go being a real estate agent. Right now, Vinny's like, I have a real estate agent job. And what he wanted, what he saw on stage, he saw agents that had real estate agent businesses. Does everyone understand the difference? A business is something that works so you don't have to. Okay, a business is something that can expand far beyond the efforts or capabilities of a solo agent, of one person. Think about this. How many homes could you sell if it had nothing to do with you? Vinny, I'm pretty sure I said that to you in 2006.
Yes.
See, the problem, folks, the problem is this. If you come to one of my conferences, once you hear this, you can't unhear it. Once you see this, you can't unsee it. So basically what happened in 2006, I kind of ruined it for Vinny because there's no way, Vinny, that you could have left that 3-day conference and gone back to what you were doing. you wouldn't have accepted it. It would have been an unacceptable idea, right? So now it's like you wanted to replace old co with new co. And that's what you've been doing for 16 years, and it's working. And you got this big team now, you're making lots of money, you're selling 100 houses. But because now this is sort of like a hobby to you now. This is not work.
Yeah, well,
right? This is
I
like
enjoy
what
it.
your
I
passion,
really
right?
do. I really do enjoy it. It's more, this is not doing another deal. It's not doing another real estate transaction. This is all about how many people can we help?
What is your goal for next year?
So our goal for next year is to help 300 families.
What about the year after?
So the year after that, so we have a 3-year goal to be able to help 500 families.
500 families. When you started with me, how many homes were you selling that year?
Oh my gosh, when I first started, I was probably selling about, I would say between 20 and 30 homes a year. And
now, could you imagine the day before you attended my first event? Could you imagine if I had pulled you aside and said, hey, man, thanks for coming to my conference. We know we start tomorrow at 9 a.m. Hey, Vinny, by the time we're done with this, you're going to be selling 500 homes a year. It would be hard to accept or believe, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And now, not only do you believe it, it's a race against time for you to get there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's like we just, especially now, I mean, I feel like the customers need companies like us, that have these tools available to be able to help them with, one of the most important transactions of their life.
And I know you believe this, so do all Craig Proctor system members. Here's what we believe. First of all, our mindset is kind of like, we just want to totally dominate the competition, right? Every day, every time, I have a member like Vinny that's going to sell 500 homes a year. Think of how many buyers and sellers that we've been able to help in a better way. We've actually saved these buyers and sellers from having an ordinary or less than ordinary experience with an average realtor. Okay. So we see Craig Proctor brokerages popping up all over the country. We're going to have 150 of these things soon. I think we're like 120 or something right now. In a couple months, it'll be 150. Had I started opening the license of brokerages 5 years ago, we'd be in the thousands right now. But we weren't doing that back in the day. I was, my paradigm was, well, we're only licensing solo agents. And then we started licensing entire teams. And then the teams started to want to open their own brokerages. So they had a sellable asset. See, if I look back at all my days with RE/MAX, I was there for 25 years. Many of you know I was the top agent in the entire world for RE/MAX within 36 months of having my real estate license. So that's pretty cool, right? I went from as dumb as a pile of rocks in year one to making more money every single year than any other RE/MAX agent on the planet. And I kept doing that for 20 years. But here was the issue. Whether I did it for 20 years at RE/MAX or 30 years or 40 years, at some point as real estate agents, we stop, right? I want everyone to think about their exit strategy. You see, if I'd have just kept working at RE/MAX, I wouldn't have a sellable asset. That's why we never go to a real estate agent's retirement party. They can't retire. They don't have anything to sell. They spend 20 or 30 years building equity or, they're really, their equity in your business is the relationships with your clients. So how do you sell that? If you're going to do real estate for 5 or 10 or 20 years later, what is your exit strategy? So that's why we started licensing brokerages. Vinny was at RE/MAX. It's like, you know what? I want to have my own brokerage. I want to grow this thing and be able to have a sellable asset at some point. So for all you watching this right now, what's your end game? Are you just going to keep selling real estate, working until you can't anymore? And that's it? What about your retirement, right? What are you building here for yourself? I don't know how much money you need to retire, but we're all living longer. And the problem is most Americans do not have the savings to be able to comfortably retire. So
Craig, I don't know if you know this, but 88% of realtors fail at their personal finances. And that's devastating.
Vinny, I play hockey with a guy that's an accountant. And the first thing is that my wife is always blown away with is that I played hockey with these same guys for like 10 years. And my wife was first blown away. Like, so she was asking me, like, what do they do for a living? And are they married? And how many kids they have? Well, first of all, for the first couple of years, I'm like, I got nothing. And she goes, oh, you see, a woman would never do that. A woman didn't know what they do and how long they've been married and how many kids they have. I'm like, I don't know. We just go play hockey and then we go to the bar and we have a few beers. But anyway, after a couple of years, I realized that one of the guys I play hockey with is an accountant. And he finds out that I'm in the real estate industry, although he doesn't really understand what I do, because he's like, are you a real estate agent? Well, I used to be, but not anymore. Well, like, what do you do then? Well, so you just talk about real estate? Well, it's too long to explain. Let's just have another beer. But anyway, he said to me as an accountant, he said, I have a whole bunch of real estate clients and the real estate agents are the worst with money.
Mhm.
They're always behind on their taxes. Like, why? He was picking my brain. Why is that? Well, because they don't have a business and they don't understand money. They don't understand how to create a very profitable business and a retirement account. And I said, this is, if you're asking me what I do, this is what we help agents with. We help them create wealth as a real estate agent by not just being a real estate agent, but actually creating a super profitable real estate business.
Yeah, and what we do, Craig, for our agents that are interested in just being an agent, you know, some people want to venture outside of being a real estate agent, and we have that path available for agents that want to grow their own team or even open their own brokerage. But for the agents that just want to be on a team and they just want to be fed motivated buyer and seller appointments, that's great, you know, and they're super happy. We have a vested interest in helping them with their personal finances, because we're interested in helping them in all areas of their life, not just helping them be a very successful real estate professional. So in our company, we teach them about cash flow property. So if they're interested in buying their own cash flow properties, you know, we're there to train them, give them the knowledge that they need to go out there and start investing in real estate. We also have a self-employed pension, or a SEP, which is for people that are independent contractors. So it's kind of like if you don't know what a SEP is, it's kind of like a 401k for an independent contractor. And we actually will provide money for every closing that they have as a way to sort of grease the wheel and get them motivated to be able to put money in themselves. And so this way, when it is time for you to retire, if you're a real estate agent, you've got multiple sources of income in your retirement. And that is something that most real estate professionals just, they don't have.
So important. You know, I went back to the RE/MAX office probably about 15 years after I left. And a lot of the original agents, when I started, were still at the brokerage. And the interesting thing for me is some of these agents that had been in real estate for 15 or 20 years, I mean, financially, they were no better off. Like, and these are agents that were making a couple $100,000 a year. How are you a real estate agent for 20 years and you're averaging $200,000 a year and you have nothing, right? Like one guy, when I first met him 20 years ago, like he was married, he owned a house, he was doing okay. I meet him 20 years later and the guy's renting. He's divorced, he's lost his family, he's lost everything, and he's still selling just making good money, 200 grand a year, looks good. But understand, he's spending half of that on marketing and advertising. And, you know, $100,000 a year doesn't go a long way. It just helps you live, but you're not really socking any money away for rainy days or retirement. And that's the way most agents live. And it's unfortunate. The other issue that we must talk about is the fact that 80% of real estate agents fail within 5 years.
That's true.
Right. So just like I guess maybe engineers could say that about us, Vinny, right? They could say, well, you know, 80% of the people that try to be an engineer fail. Well, Vinny and I would be like, yeah, that's us, right? Like they think they have an aptitude for this, but when the rubber hits the road. So we help real estate agents, okay, discover their full potential. That's what we do. Okay. Now, Vinny not only helps 300 home sellers and buyers every year, you've got to be very proud that you've made the lives of all your team members better. They're enriched by the fact that you're an entrepreneur and you've created this wonderful working opportunity that helps your outside sales agents have a better life, helps
Mm-hmm.
your inside sales agents have a better life, helps your administrative people, and you also give a lot of money back to charity and the local community.
Yeah, that's true, Craig. And we have a saying in our company, it's go serve big. And that means a lot to our entire team. What does go serve big mean? And it starts with helping the customer, doing the things that go beyond just what your real estate license allows you to do, right? Because that's sort of like first mile service, just helping buyers and sellers, buy or sell the place they call home. What are you doing to go above and beyond that? We call that second mile service in the go serve big world. And also helping our fellow team members. We really work as a team and we lift each other up, and we've got some great stories of single moms buying their first house and other team members doing some really wonderful things. And that it means so much to us. And then there's the community aspect, like giving back to the community. We're committed to donating money to a variety of organizations. Johns Hopkins Children's Center is first and foremost. We've raised thousands and thousands of dollars for them over the years. And we're in the process right now of bringing on some additional charities that are going to get added to our list that our agents can start to participate in giving back to the community as well.
That feels pretty good. Now, some of you watching might be, look, I don't have the resources, the money to give away to charities. I got to take care of myself first. And I totally get that. Vinny, when I first got into real estate, I wasn't thinking about other people or giving away money. I was thinking, how do I make a living in real estate?
Mm-hmm.
Now, remember, Vinny, you and I, when we got into real estate, both of us, we had no sales experience. I had no marketing experience. I'd never sold anything. I didn't know anything about marketing. In fact, I mentioned the only reason I got into real estate was my father was a real estate agent for about 20 years at the time. Even my own father said, don't get into real estate. Even my own father, he's like, look, 80% of the people that try real estate, they fail. You've already dropped out of college. You're not good with sticking at things. You had a point, right? You've never sold anything in your life. You don't know anything about marketing. Really, Craig, what chance do you have? Now, in a way, that kind of energized me. When your parents say like you can't do something, right? It's like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna succeed. Now, I had to succeed. A lot of you watching this have to succeed. I literally had nowhere else to go. Like, there was no plan B for Craig. I'd already dropped out of college. I had no money. And I was given this opportunity to make a go of it in real estate. But here's the mistake I made. Now, remember, my dad's in real estate for 20 years, so he's doing the best he can. But what do you think my dad knows about selling real estate? He knows door knocking. He knows cold calling. He knows chasing expired listings. He knows how to sit in open houses. That's what you did. My dad got his real estate license in 1970, right? So I did what I was told to do that first year, and I was failing. And so at the end of that first year, you know what I'm thinking? Dad told me not to do this. I did it anyway. And you know what? He was right. Real estate is hard, is what I'm thinking. It wasn't until I started to invest in learning about marketing and studying other businesses outside of real estate. That was a real epiphany. When you look at the way your lawyer operates, or your accountant operates, or an architect, they don't work by themselves, right? I needed to understand, because I didn't like cold calling, how do I get motivated buyers and sellers chasing me so I don't have to chase them? That just came from my hatred of rejection and cold calling. And not that I couldn't do it, it's just I didn't want to do it. So for all of you that have been inspired by this, if I can do this, you can do this. If Vinny can do this, you can. The fact that the two of us had totally different careers as engineers, which if you get to know us, you'll know how ridiculous that is, that we were engineers. But back in the day, that's what the guidance counselor said. Well, you should go be an engineer. They're hiring for that. No concern for my aptitude that I was not the right personality. And I say, okay, so I'll go be an engineer. I failed my way into real estate. That's what happened, folks. And I figured it out. Now, the good news for all of you watching this right now, first of all, we're about 45 minutes into this and you're still watching it. You're here for a reason. Okay, you found Craig Proctor for a reason, and you're still watching this. And I hope you understand that you can do this. Okay, we find this very gratifying. You know, I've been doing this for 30 years. I've made more millionaire real estate agents than any of the coach or mentor or guru. We're talking to one right now. This guy's a multi-millionaire from having a real estate business. You guys can do this. Now, if you want to talk to Vinny, what's the best way? If you're watching this like, oh, I want to just know he's a real guy. Maybe they want to come and work with you. They want to join up. What would be the best way, Vinny, for a realtor to reach you?
So a couple of different ways. Probably the easiest is just give our office a call. So 410-793-1616. You could also email us at clientcare@vinnysteo.com. Or if you want to check us out on the web, you can go to MD, as in Maryland, mdawesomeagents.com. That's mdawesomeagents.com. And yeah, just, if you wanted to come in and do a one-on-one, be happy to talk to you and, hear what your goals are and see if it might be a good fit for us to work together.
Yeah, the way this really works is we have enough realtors coming to us that we wouldn't work with you unless we really thought we could help you. Okay, so Vinny, since he spends so much time with the agents, he would never knowingly partner up with an agent that he didn't honestly believe that he could help you make way more money and have a better life in real estate, because it would be hurting him. It would be a total waste of all the hours and weeks and months that he would put into your training. He would never knowingly, create a partnership relationship if he didn't honestly believe that this was going to work. It's the same with me. I have realtors that come to me every day we're just honest and upfront. It's like, here's how this thing works. Okay, now this is what all you need to do. If you're coachable, if you can just take instructions, everything you want to do in real estate has already been done by me and Vinny and thousands of other Craig Proctor members. Why wouldn't you just do this? Why wouldn't you want to get coached up from people that are already doing the thing that you want to do? Versus, you want to know what's out there a lot right now, folks? Pretenders, fakers, even frauds. A lot of these so-called gurus and mentors, do your research. Many of the big names have never even sold real estate. It's true. I know, it's unbelievable. They've never had a real estate license. They've never been in front of a buyer or a seller. They've never showed houses. They've never done any of this. They're marketing companies. It'd be like me, it'd be like Vinny and I, be like Vinny, we should start a coaching program for heart surgeons. We've never been doctors, right? But that's what's going on online right now. So if you've fallen for some of this stuff in the past, you got to let that go. Okay. You got to give this a try. Do your research on us. Nobody has the track record that we have here, folks, as a real estate agent and coaching and creating more millionaire agents. Now, again, if you want to book a call with me, it's free. Your favorite amount, free, $0. You go to proctorcall.com, proctorcall.com. That's my acuity date. Time to book a day and a time. We'll have a conversation. What's the downside? Let's think of what the downside would be. Okay, well, you waste 45 minutes of your time, I guess, right? Why do we always think about the downside? Why do we always think about what's the worst thing that could happen? Let's flip it around. What's the best thing that could happen? Maybe we start a relationship like Vinny remembers the day in 2006. He remembers it was in Chicago. He remembers everything in his real estate business, and a lot of things in his life changed on that day in 2006 in Chicago because I had his attention. He showed up. He was open-minded. I laid out the vision. We laid out how this is going to work. Now, as I said earlier, I ruined it for Vinny on that moment. There was no way that Vinny was going to go back to Maryland and keep doing what he was doing. Once you hear this, you can't unhear it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. So book your call. at proctorcall.com. Just Google Vinny Steo, just Google him. Realtor, Maryland, he'll pop up. Look at how he markets himself. And then Google yourself. Google Vinny Steo, comma, Realtor, Maryland, and then Google yourself. You'll see the difference right away. Google me. Okay, we'll show you how to build a great career in real estate. Vinny, we're going to wrap it up. Final thoughts before we do.
I would just, just kind of piggyback on some of what you were saying, that one of the things that I failed at when I first started in real estate was copying or trying to copy the people that were in my real estate office, and instead of copying the very, very top of the chain. I looked at the people that were, in the top of the office.
Very, very normal, right? You're looking around at,
they weren't making over $1 million a year. I wasn't copying those people. And that's where that's the first step to failure. It's what we call the career killer, is copying what everybody else is doing in the office and saying, oh, I'll just make a slight improvement, instead of copying the top 1% of 1%, the people making over $1 million a year, copying what they do. That's the big difference.
Okay, so here's how I explain what you just said to real estate agents. I say, look, whatever you're doing right now, you didn't invent it. You copied it from someone else. So when you got into real estate, you might have copied the agent in your office that's really good at door knocking, or you might have copied the agent in your office that's really good at chasing expired listings, or you may have copied the realtor in your office that's really good at doing open houses. But whatever you're doing, you didn't invent it. Like, no, I don't know who invented door knocking. I guess first there was the door, and then, hundreds of years ago, someone knocked on it, right? But if you agree that whatever you're doing now, you copied it from someone else. You might not even remember who you copied it from. So you're copying somebody. Why not copy the best? If you're copying anyway, if whatever you're doing now, you got it from somebody else, you just copied the wrong model. That's all. You just copied the wrong person. Vinny, that's the epiphany you had. It's like, I'm copying the other guys in my office. Well, I don't want to be like them. If I copy them, I'm going to get their results. If you're going to copy someone, copy the model here at the Craig Proctor system. This is why we call it the Craig Proctor system. I don't call it Craig Proctor cold calling, or Craig Proctor image advertising, or Craig Proctor open houses. It's Craig Proctor system. What is this system? It's a system for lead generation, smart modern marketing. It's a lead conversion system. It's it's the presentation systems that you give to buyers and sellers. It's the technology that you're going to use. It's the team system of recruiting, hiring, training, managing. It's the lifetime client systems to get referrals and build relationships. It's giving back to the community. We have something called worthy cause marketing, where a portion of every house we sell, we're giving back to a charity that's important to you. We've all been affected by something, right? It might be you or someone in your family's been afflicted by cancer, Heart and Stroke Foundation. Maybe you want to give back to homeless people. Maybe we have a lot of members that were in the military and they give back to something like Wounded Warriors. We're going to teach you how to make so much money. They're going to be able to live the life that you want, but also, wouldn't it feel really good if you could help some of the causes that are important to you? And right now, I get it. Right now, you're like, well, hey, dude, I don't really, I got to take care of myself right now. We understand that. But what if this is true? Right? What if this is true? What if I really did sell over 10,000 homes as a real estate agent and I started with nothing? I built my business, folks, from dirt. Nothing. I didn't have rich parents. I didn't have a father that owned a coaching program before. No, I built all this from dirt as a real estate agent, selling normal, ordinary homes. Many of you may notice I'm not on TV. I'm not on the millionaire, Hollywood millionaire real estate show. I'm not selling $50 million. If that's what I'm probably not the right guy. You know who I'm right for? Somebody that sells a lot of real estate. If you're like me, okay, you're a real estate agent. You're not a TV celebrity. You're a real estate agent. Like Vinny. This is why people like this organization, because everybody's down to earth. Everybody's here to help you. Something we haven't mentioned, Vinny, is not just the help you've got from me over the years, but as important, maybe even more important, is the other Craig Proctor members that you've met and become best friends with over the last 16 years.
Yeah, it's great to be around like-minded individuals that, I always wondered why the people in my real estate office, like it was like we worked at the same company, and I could never understand why it was like nobody liked each other, and it was so competitive, and we're in the same office. And I just realized
I remember that back at Remax, the more successful I got, the more the other agents in the office hated me.
Yeah.
What did I do? All I did is became successful. Now, when I first started at the Remax office, everyone liked me. Oh, you're just Larry's son. I wasn't a threat to anybody. But as soon as I started to win, it's like all these people that I thought were my friends were not my friends. So yeah, it can be lonely. But how would you like to be associated and be able to talk to on a regular basis agents that are making millions of dollars a year? It's really helpful because, we have our own insecurities and we're thinking always like, well, somebody else can do this, but I can't do it. But when you start to meet with hundreds of Craig Proctor members, here's what you realize, Vinny, these people are just like you. All the problems you've got, they've had those problems and they'll share with you. Yeah, I used to be there. This was my issue and here's how I fixed it.
Yeah, it's great. We say, do you want to swim with the ducks or do you want to fly with the eagles? And, when you're around like-minded individuals through the Craig Proctor system, you are definitely flying with eagles, and everybody's there to help. They all want you to be successful. It's a great group of people.
And now the new realtors that come to our events and get involved with Craig Proctor, they're now looking up to you, right? You're that guy. When you first got in the system, you were looking at the other agents that are making millions of dollars. Like, I really want to have a business like them. And now you're there. Now the newer Craig Proctor members are looking at you. The guy makes millions of dollars a year. He's going to sell 500 homes a year. He's got a team. So you've moved from watching these other agents do great things and visualizing like, I want to be there. And now you're there. So, and this just keeps happening. I've watched this evolve for over 30 years. There'll be somebody watching this right now. Right now, it's pretty cool that someone's watching this and they're going to come up to you and I, Vinny, a month from now, 3 months from now, at one of our future events, maybe on a Zoom meeting that we do. And they're going to say, the reason I'm with Craig Proctor is I watched that interview with Vinny Steo from Maryland. I watched that. And there was something that Vinny said that I could relate with. Like, we all relate to. There'll be somebody, maybe it'll be someone watching this saying, you know what, I was an engineer. And when I watched your interview with Vinny, that really just struck a chord with me. Or maybe it's somebody that was struggling, but there'll be people that we're going to reach where this session that we did here is going to hit them with the right message at the right time. So I want to thank all of you for watching this. I hope you let us know in the comments if you enjoyed this. If you found this extremely helpful, let us know. Any questions you have, type it into the comments below. But make sure that you check out Vinny, give him a call. I'd be happy to talk to you. Again, if you want to set up a free call with me and my team, just go to proctorcall.com, book your day and time. We'd love to talk to you about your real estate business. So I want to thank you, Vinny, so much for being with us here today. We'll get you back here in another year or so. Watch your progress.
Sounds great. Love to.
All right. Well, thank you again, everyone, for watching. This is Craig Proctor, and thank you for watching the Craig Proctor Real Estate Show. We'll see you all next time.